Unfortunately, it is true. We can now add actor Rainn Wilson to the growing bunch of bad apples that make up Hollyweird. Between 2009 and 2011, Rainn tweeted a series of tweets regarding children and teens that were beyond inappropriate, and even though he labeled them as jokes, they were far from jokes and actually not even funny. But what's important here is that we not only highlight these tweets that Rainn made back in 2009, 2010, and 2011, but we also address this trend that we see with actors and artists where they make inappropriate tweets, particularly about children, about child assault, and then the public reacts. They apologize and say they were just old jokes, but then later on, they continue to see success in their career. They gain fame, wealth, and numerous opportunities. This is a trend that has to stop. So let's talk about Rainn's tweets and this ridiculous Hollywood system. Rainn Wilson is an actor who rose to fame after starring in The Office as the infamous and loved character Dwight. Since The Office ended in 2013, Rainn has starred in films such as Shimmer Lake, Permanent, Tom Paine, Jerry and Marge Go Large. He's also done voice work for The Smurfs: The Lost Village, Solar Opposites, and Batman Hush. Despite Rainn's steady and successful career, he's found his way to the ever-growing bunch of Hollyweird celebrities. Rainn currently has a show on Peacock called Rainn Wilson and the Geography Bliss. The show is all about Rainn traveling and trying to capture joy within himself that extends beyond his career success. While this is a typical middle-aged man life crisis, I mean, we've seen this be played out on media, television, and film before. And while, on a soul level, I wish Rainn all the luck with that journey, I can't help but wonder if his internal joy issues are stemming from the culture, the people, and maybe some of the things he's participated in the Hollywood scene. So between 2009 and 2011, while The Office was still on air, Rainn made a series of tweets about babies and teenagers. On November 12, 2009, Rainn tweeted, "How many clowns does it take to screw in a light bulb?" Answer: 12. 1 to screw it in, and 11 to kidnap and chew on human babies. On January 26, 2010, he tweeted, "What about human baby meat? Real talk, what should I eat for dinner? I'm thinking pasta." On July 9th, 2011, he tweeted, "Beautiful day for the ritual scarification of a virgin." And that was at like 1:30 in the afternoon. So not only does he just wake up with that on his mind, but he thought that would be a really funny afternoon joke to put on Twitter. And again, they frame it as a joke, but really it's just them telling us the truth and laughing in our faces because we'll think it's a joke. On September 2nd, 2011, Rainn tweeted, "If you want to punish a teenager, simply take away their cell phone and assault them with it." On October 7th, 2011, Rainn tweeted, "I drained the blood out of a goth kid. Does that make me goth by proxy?" On October 24th, 2011, Rainn tweeted, "Little concerned. This morning, found blood in my urine. Well, not my urine. The baby urine I washed my hair with." So yes, small-minded people out there will see Rainn Wilson's tweets and just say, oh, he's a comedian, he was just joking. But I promise you, so much more is happening. And this whole trend highlights the Hollyweird pattern that we see where inappropriate actions, jokes, skits are exposed and the public reacts and admits that it's inappropriate, but still does not condemn these actions entirely or the platforms that these people present these skits on or the work that these actors, writers, directors, whomever it may be, continue to do afterwards. And this is why celebrities like Rainn, Chrissy Teigen, Tiffany Haddish, Aries Spears, Dan Harmon, James Gunn. Also, remember when The Rock was on SNL and he performed in the skit where there's a child, can't say the word, assaulting robot. And then in 2019 on Adult Swim, Will Ferrell did a skit where he played an owner of an outlet store that sold kids dressed as clowns. And in the skit, he jokes about touching the kids. So this is a pattern of celebrities and individuals in Hollywood who think it's okay to joke about this because they'll get away with it and people won't believe that there's issues within the entertainment industry where children are being assaulted, sexualized, and even cannibalism is occurring. And so far, the pattern goes: old offensive tweets, old offensive skits, public awareness, public apology, and then they continue their career. So I don't know if these celebrities are high or stupid when they make this, or if it's some initiation ritual where they have to show that they're down with the program and support these antics and basically put themselves in a situation where at some point they'll have to answer for their actions for the public. And it's almost like collateral for these ultra elites who control this ring of celebrities to show, well, you know, you put these tweets out and we can use that against you and basically destroy your career if you ever step out of line. Maybe that's why they make these tweets. Maybe because it just makes no sense why they would make this so public and why they would even try to frame it as a joke when it's just not a joke. And to see this consistently between actors, directors, and writers, you know, it shows that there is something going on larger here. And that's why I think it could be some sort of initiation ritual where, you know, it's part of their blackmail, you know, that they have against these celebrities. But ask yourself too, would you ever make a joke about eating babies, using baby blood, you know, assaulting children, assaulting teens, having kids touch you? Like, is that even funny? You know, no. A good baby joke is like a baby saying a curse word or a baby saying dada to a stranger while their actual dad is beside them. I mean, those are funny baby jokes. So I'm just tired of incidents like this being labeled as jokes and getting swept under the rug because people don't want to shatter their perception of the entertainment industry and acknowledge that disturbing and terrible things are happening. And it's been going on for years. Something odd that I discovered while editing is that a lot of these tweets and even Dan Harmon's skit about child assault occurred in 2009. So Chrissy Teigen's first tweet about babies was in 2009. James Gunn's tweet about boys was in 2009. Rainn's first tweet about babies and cannibalism was in 2009. So I went on to look up just different events that were occurring that year on Wikipedia, and I couldn't really find anything that stood out. But something within, the Hollywood secret scenes was occurring, some ritual, some practice, some initiation thing was happening, or maybe these individuals felt so brazen that, they didn't care about making these comments public. But it's odd because if you consider how private they are about other things in their life and how smart they are about hiding those things, why would they make comments like this public? So you have to think about that too, but something was definitely occurring in 2009, and it's one of those things that we could probably add to that list of we will never truly know, but it's just an interesting pattern that I discovered, and I think it does again highlight that this is some sort of ritual practice or initiation or blackmail scheme that these celebrities have to go through to continue to move forward in Hollywood. It was in 2016 when Elijah Wood said in an interview, "I can tell you that the number one problem in Hollywood was and is and will always be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry. It's the big secret." There's the 2014 documentary An Open Secret that exposes these patterns of child assault and child exploitation within Hollywood, and in particular, a major individual that has allegations placed on him within that documentary is Bryan Singer, and Bryan Singer has directed for TV shows like House and also the X-Men films. In 2017, childhood actor Macaulay Culkin was said to have done an interview on the radio in France, which he said, "Hollywood executives are bloodthirsty Satanists who ritually harm children in the industry." According to Macaulay Culkin, he went on to claim that he only got out alive because he was a smart, suspicious kid, and he got too famous to be deleted like some other kids. Some words I couldn't say there, but you see the image on the screen. We also can't forget about the two Coreys, Corey Feldman and Corey Haim, who both have alleged to experience childhood assault during their time in Hollywood. And if you see how their lives evolved, the, amount of drug use and trauma that they were kind of acting out in their personal lives that they had to hold in because they feared their personal safety. They also didn't know what else they would do with their lives because they've been working in Hollywood since they were kids. So really, they were forced to stay quiet for so long. But clearly, they are two really great examples of what happens when, you experience childhood crimes and you grow up as an adult and you have all these repressed emotions, and how that spirals into drug use and negative patterns in your personal relationships, and this overall inability to heal and gain good health in your life. There's also Todd Bridges from Different Strokes. I mean, that was an infamous case.
Different Strokes star Todd Bridges is speaking out from his jailhouse while awaiting trial.
She said she loved me. She said she'd never lie to me. She said she'd treat me great. She said she'd always be my number one. But she never said she'd put me in county jail.
But Bridges did land in the Los Angeles County Jail. He has pleaded not guilty to a charge of first-degree attempted murder. He's being held without bond. He and another man, Harvey Duckett, are charged with the shooting and knifing of a third man at this address in south central Los Angeles. Bridges says his road to prison was a straight line, a line of cocaine.
See, first you start with sniffing and snorting it. That's the average start. And people say, well, I'd never freebase, which they're wrong. Because that's the same thing I said when I first started snorting it. I go, I'd never freebase, that's crazy. So I snorted for a couple weeks. Pretty soon there's no more high in snorting it. So you got to find another level, which is freebase. You start freebasing it, that high is instantaneously high. You're high. You're up there.
Bridges' fall from grace came after a long, successful run in the series Different Strokes. He admits his problem was cocaine, but he says Hollywood itself was a big part of the cause.
95%, almost 98%, I fall to Hollywood because Hollywood tends to, they rise you up to be this person, and then they just, wow, it's gone. They don't want to use you, they don't want to talk to you, they don't know you.
Ironically, in the middle of all this trouble, Bridges has a new movie out, a low-budget horror film called Twice Dead. And in the odd logic of the movie business, Bridges thinks his incarceration is actually helping.
Producers don't realize all this trouble that I'm in is just going to make me more popular with the people. I don't think they really realize that. I think if I do a movie, it's going to make people want to go see it. All they have to do is link the movie towards something like this.
But for now, he has to deal with the charges he's facing and the life behind bars.
At one time, I even thought about suicide being inside of here. I didn't think I could handle it. So I got into God, I got into praying a lot. And God brought me out of it, basically. But as far as, as being on drugs, I'm not on drugs anymore. I'm a fighter now. I'm fighting more and more every day.
Well, I was 12 years old, and my publicist, he basically talked me into doing things that I didn't really want to do. Hadn't had sex before, and he kind of convinced me that this was the right thing to do, and kind of told me, like, don't tell your parents, and he bought me a bicycle. He always kept doing things for me that I didn't quite really understand.
So he kind of seduced you?
I started at 11. Yeah, he seduced me, and he started at 11 years old to 12. And then finally one day, at 12 years old, an encounter with Dana Plato happened, and I realized that that was the right thing and what he did was the wrong thing. And when he came to my house the next day, I attacked him. My mother knew right away what had happened, and my mother went after him. My dad stopped him, and my dad took his side and then didn't believe me.
Wait.
And,
Your dad took his side. He didn't believe his own son.
Yeah, because, no, my dad, the guy did it. Predators are very smart. He set my father up to know that I was going to say something eventually. And he got in my father's ear and made my father, told him that I was going to say something. And that it was all a lie. And so when I had told my father told my mom that I was lying. And my mom knew I wasn't lying because she could see in her child's face, because it happened to her when she was growing up, that I wasn't lying. And I just attacked the guy. And then after that, the guy stalked me for like 2 years, and that's when they had no stalking laws. Everywhere I went, that guy was still there. But see, the problem that we have to do is we have to figure out, this bill was shot down in 2006, and we've got to get this bill passed. We have to make people realize that children need to be safe on these sets, and they're not safe because parents want their kids to be in show business so bad that they are willing to do anything, and they'll send them off with strange people.
And that's
something that you just shouldn't do. When a child is molested, for me, I can't speak for every other child, but when I was molested, it made me feel shame, degradation, it made me feel less than average. I mean, I spent from 12 to 13 years old trying to figure out whether I was homosexual or not. I didn't know because I liked the feeling, but I didn't know that was wrong. So if I can keep any child from having to go through what I went through by having these people get these background checks before you become a publicist, before you become a manager, you have to have these background checks before you get around these minors in show business, because it's like show business is an open field to child molesters.
I hear.
There's also Brooke Shields, who, now has her documentary on Hulu, but at one point in her childhood, she was in a Playboy magazine for children. That was a thing. And we also have to think about Shirley Temple and how she was portrayed as a child in films playing a sex worker and just being surrounded by adult men, and who knows what was happening to her when the camera wasn't rolling. And furthermore, why do you think celebrities like Orlando Brown are the way that they are? There is repressed trauma. There's plenty of Disney actors who are able to evolve and progress, but what made him dip so heavily into drug use, into all of these negative spirals? You have to be obvious about it. It's more than likely childhood trauma. And he's been acting since he was, 6, 7 years old. So just imagine what he may have experienced if he wasn't being protected by a guardian when he was doing casting calls, filming on different sets, traveling for these films. You never know what's happening. Rainn Wilson has been in Hollywood since 1997. So you better believe he's gone to some parties, met some people, seen some stuff, and possibly, allegedly, even participated in some things. Because again, people don't just make jokes about eating children, babies' blood, and harming and assaulting a teenager. You know, there's a lot of people who, again, who are in denial about the reality of Hollywood being Holly weird. And I completely get it. And I think on a spiritual level, it's because there's so many of us on a normative basis who are repressing our traumas and our issues. So if we see it in the mainstream and it doesn't even have to deal with us, it's so much easier to be in denial about that if we are repressing our own issues that surround similar topics. The psyche will do whatever it can to protect an individual and create a sense of balance and wellness, even if that's tied into illusions and falsities and a poor sense of health. And I get it, you know, when I started learning about all these things, watching TV, movies, it changes everything. I mean, to this day, I can't watch a show or a movie without wondering what the artist or actor has been through or what they have done to get where they are. You know, you have to ask yourself these questions. And again, we have to acknowledge the fact that this pattern where they frame their inappropriate tweets or skits as jokes, it's not only predictive programming in a sense, because it's conditioning the normalization of celebrities and people in power making these sorts of comments and framing them as jokes. And then some people in the public will come to believe that, oh no, they are actually jokes, when no, you know, harming a child, eating a child, that should never be a joke, and nothing will ever make it a joke. Let's just be very clear about that. But that predictive programming and establishing this pattern where, you know, clearly it's working too, because people still will go see, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy if you consider people like James Gunn. It doesn't change anything in their career. And not only does that normalize the issue in our society, but it continues to give individuals like this power. And if they are doing things that, you know, surround harming children, all of these things become normalized and we brush it off and we don't think about it. And because we're so attached to TV shows and movies and franchises, we will look past these issues. And I've done it myself, you know, and it never sets well with me at the end of the day. But we really have to start acknowledging Hollywood for being Holly weird, and we have to start breaking away from our addictions to entertainment and how that makes us look past these issues. Because, you know, again, there's so much more happening that we have no idea about. And if you think about Harvey Weinstein, you know, of course, you know, there were so many victims in that case, but something else that we have to acknowledge is that Harvey was a massive scapegoat for dozens of other executives, producers, directors who are using his same system. Because believe me, he is not the first to do it, and he will certainly not be the last to do that. But people are so afraid to have their careers impacted, to, you know, have their socioeconomic status change and not be able to live the lifestyle that they're living. But on a darker note, some people are afraid for their lives and the lives of their families, because stuff like that does go down. But I really wanted to just address this because Rainn has this new show out, and when I learned about it, it just pissed me off, because I'm like, well, are people not going to acknowledge, you know, that he's problematic? And Why has he been giving a show about, trying to recapture his inner joy when clearly his inner joy is being affected because something's off with his soul? And I think something is off with your soul because you are a part of Holly Weird. And that's where I'm going to leave it. But Sleepyheads, be sure to leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about this situation. Anything else that I've touched on. Yeah, this won't be the last I talk about this because, again, this is a subject matter that's important to me and I will continue to discuss it, trying to work around the censorship of YouTube as best as I can. But other than that, have a good night and we will talk soon.